Hello, folks. It's Friday, and here in Omaha, it's early. I'm up early. It's about 6:24. I want to try to get this video out and uploaded early enough that you folks that tend to watch the videos first get a chance to be reminded to watch me on Stupid Morning Bullshit show on Adult Swim streaming online this afternoon. It's at 5 Central, 5 Eastern, 4 Central. Either this week's show or next week's show, they will air my segment where I announce the special coming up. And they just asked me to wait to do it that way. Let that be the official announcement, and I'll take it from there. So that'll be today. I'm going to try to watch. I don't often watch the show. It's not really geared towards my mentality. I love being a part of the show, very much so. I'd started to make the video and had got it going, and then looked and saw that my camera was on photo as opposed to video, so I had to start over again. Since I've spoken to you folks, I've received a package from Bob Burnside. Bob, thank you so much. And it said some things in the other one that I don't know that I can remember to say, except I discovered that you had sent me money requesting. I read. It's a long letter. I do understand you, Bob, and I do understand what you relate to about my videos. I think it's real. I've never met you, but I get this from a lot of people where they say, I really feel understood by you. I really feel like I've known you for a long time. And that is real. It's my nature as a person. And I think you folks have heard this term where people say, well, he's empathic, or I'm an empath. I feel deeply. There's a lot of people who say that who are phony, and it's bullshit. And it's everyone has empathic qualities. But some of us are empaths where we have a filter that is turned off and things are coming in that we don't necessarily want. It's useful, but it's also can be a burden. So yes, I am an actual empath. I don't choose it, and so I think you pick up on that. I do understand a lot about human nature. And just for you folks that know, Bob really is supportive. He sends me music. He relates to me, but he also likes my music, and he just a while back, just out of the blues, started sending me money and asking, would you please make me a physical copy of such and such of one of your releases? And I do. And he's requested a copy of Solstice, and I'm just going to send him my copy. My latest release is a digital only. A lot of times, because like I said, I'm kind of nerdy, I'll make one copy for myself, because this is the fun of it. I'll send you my copy, Bob, all right? Because I made the music. I've got it here. I don't need a copy. It's, I just do it because I like it, so I'll send this to you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much. No, I'm still not thinking about making a run of CDs. I am working on some kind of way of getting some vinyl out this year. So Bob sent me 2 records and a DVD. And folks, if you want to send me music out of the blue, as gifts, some of you may want to check or just take your chances, because a lot people are sending me records I already have. This happens actually a lot. And he sent me Emmett Rhodes, but I have this already. He was saying he never saw me show it. I've been on here for 10 years, but even though I've been on here for 10 years, I haven't shown you everything, not even close to everything in my collection. So there's a lot of music that I have, and people ask me all the time, have you heard of, have you heard of, have you heard of? And the answer is almost always yes, 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 yes. I haven't heard of everything, but when it comes to the history and the best historically of Western music, I really have tried to absorb a lot of it. I'm learning all the time, so I'm not a know-it-all. I know that, and so I say it. I'm not stupid enough to say, well, I'm an expert, I know it all. No, I don't. I'm an expert, but I don't know a lot. But a lot of these major, to me, this is a major album in the history of rock music, Western pop music. I have it. I know about it. You know, some of the records I don't have, I know about. I wish I had them. Emmett Rhodes was had it. He had the songwriting talent. He had the looks. He had a voice somewhere between John Lennon and Harry Nilsson. His songs were about relationships, about girls, about wanting to get laid. The universal secret to selling records. I appreciate it. It's not what I listen to much, but I sure do appreciate it. And I do like it. I played it last night, actually, one side. But the thing that Bob primarily sent me, I really appreciate. Thank you so much, Bob. Yes, he is my favorite Beatle. Always has been. George Harrison. Bob sent me this, the Living in the Material World documentary and the accompanying album, Early Takes Volume 1. Now, I'll be honest with you, I actually had forgotten all about this. This came out in, 2011, 2010, 2011? Had never seen it all. Seen snippets of it, but completely forgot about it. So, after rehearsal yesterday with Dream, we played it, and I'm really looking forward to the show tonight. This is a wonderful documentary. George Harrison has always been my favorite Beatle, and I relate to him personally. I always sense that he and I are very similar type of person. And watching this documentary just cements that we are very similar types of people. He's a sweet, loving, spiritual man, but he was also angry and didn't suffer no fools and would tell you in a second to fuck off with your bullshit. And I love it because there's many examples in here where he would just tell the press to just eat shit because you're ignorant. You know, dealing with Beatlemania and different stuff, and some of the just ignorant things that they went through because of, just mainstream. That's why I go on about this, because I know that the mainstream of thought is primarily ignorant, based on beliefs as opposed to actual hard information, which has a lot to do with why we have so many people in the cult of Trump. It's like whatever he says goes, as opposed to watching what he does. If they were awake and watching, they'd be going, oh my God. But they're hypnotized, That's stupidity. That's ignorance, okay? That is, and I'll call it out. That's some moronic shit. And George Harrison, he had a good sense of himself. You could see it. From the early pictures on, he had a good sense of who he was. It's like he basically knew, I'm not your fool. I like myself. Don't treat me shit. I'm not letting you treat me like shit. I'm not treating myself like shit. Wonderful. And then hearing the demos, these are demos of him showing the songs to the other musicians, because you can hear him on the acoustic guitar on many of these. He already knows where he wants to go, and the other musicians don't know yet. And they're, you can hear them flubbing the mistakes, and he just keeps going. He already knows where he's going. George Harrison, wonderful musician. I love him. I don't have a whole lot by George Harrison, but I have a couple of important records. This is absolutely an important album in music. All Things Must Pass. The first solo album by one of the Beatles. George had amassed so much material that was being passed on by the band that, in the documentary, Phil Spector's perspective is interesting to hear. As sick as the man is, he's very smart and knows how to make music, and talks very on point about George and the making of this. It was like, Phil said, make an album. You've got hundreds of songs. They're all good. This is a wonderful album. Wonderful album. I also have 2 copies of Wonderwall music in American pressing. And what is this? Is I believe this is a French pressing. And I do like Wonderwall music. I do like this. The other thing I have is the electronic music album, electronic sound album, which is basically Beaver and Krause, or one of those guys, demonstrating the synthesizer to George that he just bought, and then George puts the record out. I understand that's the real story behind this. And it sounds like it. It's great to have it. The only other George Harrison vinyl I have, because I have some 45s, is Living in the Material World, and I really like this album. I love his message. You know, he and we're on the same path, which is clarity and just being decent. You know, being a decent human being. You know, music is love. And then Cloud 9. There's good songs on here too. So I'm very happy to add this George Harrison, excuse me, to my collection. Thank you so much, Bob. Right after Harrison is David Harrow. These came too. David Harrow, I've shown him before. He came to my attention through Cabaret Voltaire. And these are a bit dated, but I still recommend this guy. If you don't know him and you like that Cabaret Voltaire electronic sound, look up David Harrow. You'll be surprised. These are really good. So I'm going to go for a little bit further because I got up early so I can upload this, get this uploading, and maybe it'll be online by noon or so. A couple quick things that I've listened to. CCCL, Chris Carter's Chemistry Lessons from Throbbing Gristle, Chris and Cozy. Volume 1 and 2. Created during the period of 2010 to 2017. Using a wide range of instruments. This is cool. 2 different colored vinyls. It's good. It's real enjoyable because of the variety. I mean, he's very good. He built a lot of the instruments that he played in Throbbing Gristle, the electronics. He built them, and so his understanding of the use of electricity in making sound is really nuanced. And it's just throughout his work. It's really varied. So varied that at one point I had to look and see, what am I listening to? Thought it was Vangelis for a minute. Imagine that. Really good. I think they kept a couple things else. I listened to Bass Communion the other day. Bass Communion with Pig. This is a live collaboration between Steven Wilson and the artist Pig, live in Mexico City. Drone electronic pieces. This is the green vinyl version. These are pretty limited. This is real good. Since I played it, and it's right here, I can just grab it. I pulled it, but I put it away, but I'm grabbing it. Oh, not this one. I played this Sonic Youth last night. Really enjoyed it. Anagramma. You know, they have their own label for the more experimental stuff. This one's real good. Don't know how to describe it. It's on red vinyl. It's just really good. It's just really good. Something else I pulled. Someone sent this to me. A Dutch horn band, Warehouse, Powerhouse. When I first got it, it wasn't striking me, you know. It was like, oh, this is just some horn pop. And it is. But it's good. And there is the aspect of it this is progressive pop. Somewhere between the French band Zoo and Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Warehouse, Powerhouse, good album. Another English band that I just love them, although I'm not English, and there's parts of this that I don't relate to because of the humor, but that's beside the point. It's the music and the picture in my head that I love. Small Faces, Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. This is a reissue, but it's the Small Faces official remastered. And I just love this. A big part of what happens about this music is it does have to do with my childhood and the world that I built for myself in my head through the music of the Beatles. primarily, but the British invasion. British invasion saved me as a kid. It was a refuge. I was able to go there. I created this world in my head. I've never been to England, but the music was so magical to me. And at the right time, I was 6, 7 years old when I first discussed, when it first happened. So the music of England and this kind of sound, it just helped me to create a world that I liked living in my head. And to me, I got it right away from the Beatles because, as I got to discover the Beatles as a little kid, it became apparent right away that they got their roots from black music, from Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and other stuff. But I just knew that these guys' music was my music, and it wasn't about the color of their skin. I'm one of them. They're one of me. And they let us know it through the music. And that just transferred to my feeling about the music, the magical music that for me was kicked off by the British invasion. And this was a big part of it. Love this album. Itchycoo Park as a single is just still a classic. I'm going to stop here because I could be saying so much more, but I want to get this online. The last thing I'll say is social. It is very apparent to me that we're dealing with some sort of cult sort of situation here with this president of ours. And God bless you people in England with the vote that went down yesterday. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm just watching and saying prayers for the common man because things are so obviously going out of hand away from the concerns of people. It's these mad, greedy people. Are they people who have they're ball hogs and they're just running away? And so I just want to say it's just more and more obvious to me that we're dealing with like a cult mentality where no matter what these fools, and specifically in my country, Trump, no matter what that idiot fool, dangerous man does, it's what he says that keeps his following hypnotized. It's true that he could drop his trousers and take a shit in public and they would applaud it. That's how deep the ignorance and the hypnotism goes. It's not good. There's nothing good coming out of this, people. And I'm glad to say that I haven't had any fools come over here trying to write me foolishness, telling me otherwise, because you can't say something intelligent about the way the world is going, that somehow this is beneficial, the way these politicians and these greed heads are completely out of control, causing an awful lot of suffering just so a few folks can have that extra expensive wine or whatever it is. And the way that they've thrown our children under the bus. Last thing I will say, please tell me how am I supposed to understand this, because one of the most reviled people on the planet are pedophiles, right? People who victimize children, sexually abuse them. We have a president where it's not just talk. There's solid evidence that shows that this man has exhibited pedophilia. Now, if that was me or a friend, if you found out that someone you knew, if you found out about him, would they be welcome? Would I be welcome in your house? Of course not. So how is it okay for him to be the president? And don't tell me, well, there's no solid evidence proof. The problem is you won't accept the obvious. There's a trail of tears. I think it has to be continued. I will continue to say my part. This is madness we're dealing with. Madness. Thank goodness for the music, my family, and good friends.